Okay, this is now the 5-minute tarot for the 18th of June 2017. And today I'd like to discuss the King of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and the Four of Cups. And this is because I think it was yesterday that I mentioned the cup. The King of Cups was the king holding a cup. And so maybe there's a connection between it and the ace, because in the ace there's also one cup and one hand holding the cup. But then afterwards, after I'd finished the recording, and it occurred to me, maybe there's more of a connection between the King of Cups and the Four of Cups. And this has to do with the fact that in the Ace of Cups, the hand that's holding the cup is balancing the cup on its palm. Whereas in the Four of Cups, there's again a hand emerging from a cloud, but the hand in the Four of Cups is holding the cup in the same way that the king is. So it may be the point with these 2 or 3 cards is that there's more connection between the four and the king, and that maybe the king can learn something from the four, and the four relates in some way to the king. So if we start with the ace, we've got the hand balancing the cup. It's easy to hold a cup this way, right? You hold it by the stem. But in the ace, we've got the hand balancing the cup on the palm. And this is doing something in a different... Again, you're holding the cup and this cup isn't spilling. But what you're doing is doing something in a different way from the normal way of doing it. Maybe it is doing it in a way that's more difficult. But if you actually think about, if you were to hold a cup that way, you have to have skill and a certain amount of confidence that you can maintain it and it's not going to fall over. So the hand position in the ace shows skill and ability, and maybe a bit of imagination as well, because they're not doing something the normal way or the typical way. They're not holding the cup the way you might expect that anybody would. So this, if the Ace of Cups represents a person or a situation, if it's a person, they can be worth hiring. If it's a promotion question, or if it's somebody you want to become involved with and participate in a project with, you might like the Ace of Cups person because maybe holding the cup that way shows they've got unusual ideas, or they go about things in a different way, or in an unusual or non-typical way, but they're successful because the cup isn't falling over. I mean, the Ace of Cups reversed, then you try to do it differently and it doesn't work. But this way, if the cup is upright, or if the ace is upright, it can be that the solution exists because the cup is upright, depending what the question is. But let's say that you've got a problem and you want to know, can it be solved, or how can it be solved? Maybe approach it differently and hold the cup differently. But also the fact that the card is upright is an indication that the solution already exists, but you don't find it in a normal way. Or if you try to get success or to solve the problem in the usual way, then maybe you're missing the point. Or if you try to do it the normal way, you're going to be limited, or you're limiting yourself in where or how you think you're going to find a solution. And various writers and people and experts talk about having limiting beliefs. So you don't think you can do something, or you're assuming that it's not going to work. And because you've got that limiting belief, or a belief that you're subject to limits, then you're going to get in your own way. But the Ace of Cups person doesn't get in his own way and isn't subject to limiting beliefs. So with the Ace of Cups, you approach it differently, or the advice could be approach it differently, or think outside the box, as people might say. But thinking outside the box is easy to say, but it's not so easy to do, because you're in the box and you may not know what the box looks like. And so you can't be creative because you don't realize that you're not being creative. So how do you get out of the box? As a general question, and maybe what you do because we're dealing with the tarot is you pick a card and see what you get and use it as the first step or the steps to take to get out of the box or to begin to think differently or to come up with a different kind of solution. Or maybe you use an oracle. And what you do, there's all sorts of oracles, but a simple one is you can, as I just did, you open a book at random and you point your finger, and the word that your finger lands on is the word that you think about or that you use to develop an answer or to develop ideas that will lead you to an answer. So you open the book at random, and I just did it, and my finger landed on the word Anne, which doesn't seem to be saying much because Anne, I forget what the other word was, but it began with a vowel. So we've got the indefinite article and not, so we've got Anne and not the. So that's the indefinite article, but not the definite article. And Anne can mean that the way out of the box is to be general and vague. Because if you talk about an egg, we know you're talking about an egg, but which egg? You're not talking about the egg, the one that's on the table, or that egg. So you're talking about an egg. So we've got the idea there's an egg somewhere, but we don't know which one. So in the same way, if your finger falls on, or my finger fell on the word Anne, so the way to a solution is to be general and maybe vague and non-specific. So maybe you think about they say such and such, and think about some kind, this vague general they who say certain things, or I can't think of an expression offhand, but maybe that's how you do it. If we're going to be vague and general, think about the first thing that comes to mind for the kind of thing that they say. I can't think of one. But anyway, that's something about the Ace of Cups and the fact that the hand is balancing the cup on its palm. Whereas by contrast, the hand is in the cloud, in the Four of Cups, but it's holding the cup in the same way that the King is holding the cup. So is this telling us that the person in the Four of Cups can see the three cups ahead of him, and he seems to be looking in that direction, but there's a fourth cup off to the side, but because the cup is being held the same way as the King holds the cup, that somewhere off to the side is an idea or something that leads to power and position and authority, things that are represented by the King. So when you're represented by the Four of Cups, or when the Four of Cups comes up in a reading, by all means look at what you can see, but realize or understand that you should set your sights high and understand that the sky is the limit. And if you aim high, you're going to get help. Maybe powerful people will come to your assistance, or you'll begin to think like a powerful individual, and that will attract conditions and circumstances to you because of the way that you're thinking. And again, you're back to the idea of limiting beliefs. You don't have any when you're the King of Cups. You're confident, you're optimistic, you know it's going to work out simply because you want it to. And there was a quote that I was trying to remember, and it's by Goethe. And it was something along the lines of, if you want something and you mean it and you're willing to make it happen, then nature and life is going to send you whatever you need to make it come true. Something along those lines. He said it better than that. And so what I did was I looked up, I wanted to see if I could find the quote. And so I went to Google and I typed in Goethe, forget what I typed in, Goethe, whatever it was, make it happen or whatever. And I got a list, I think it was a brainy quote. And I looked down the list of quotes by Goethe, and there was one that I came across, and it said, or Goethe said at one point, magic is believing in yourself. If you can do that, you can make anything happen. I thought, I have to tell you that because it may relate in some way to the magician card. So magic is believing in yourself. If you can believe in yourself, you can make anything happen. And the thing is, Goethe says, magic and the magician, you make stuff happen. It's not that you, that fortune will make it happen, or if you believe in the power of good, or if you believe in the power of the law of attraction, or if you believe in anything, it's going to make it happen. If you believe in yourself, that's all it takes to make anything happen, which is interesting because if you look at the magician card, the magician is standing in front of the table with the cup, the coin, the sword, and the baton on it. And that can represent stuff in the world and things that can happen or that can be created. But Goethe is saying, and the magician is standing in such a way that if you can believe in yourself, that's all you need to do to make anything happen. Okay, that was it. Tomorrow I'm going to revisit the question about what happens when somebody says to you, the tarot is evil. How do you deal with that? Because I didn't really just answer that particular question yesterday. So thanks for watching. If you have comments or questions, leave a comment. The other thing is, if you can give me a thumbs up or a like, that means that Google thinks this is a good video. So when people want to know about tarot videos, then they'll maybe get to see this one, which can lead them to bigger and better things, ideally. That was it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.